Hi, and welcome to another episode of Composed Living with Elsa Albert. I am your host, Elsa. Today, I'm so happy to be chatting with the founders of Bolden, a skincare brand focused on creating highly effective products that work well for women with melanin-rich skin. Bolden is the brainchild and passion of Chinelo and Ndidi, two dynamic co-founders on a mission to help women around the world celebrate their natural beauty. The two originally met as girls at boarding school in Nigeria, but eventually lost touch. Little did they know their paths would cross again in the future, and they'd wind up becoming not only business partners, but also sisters-in-law. At Bolden, they know that self-love is elusive when the beauty standards, rituals, and needs of women of color aren't honored. I'm so excited to learn about their journey to create Bolden and share this story with you. I'm going to do that one more time, Adriana. Today, starting over. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Composed Living with Elsa Albert. I am your host, Elsa. Today, I'm so happy to be chatting with the founders of Bolden, a skincare brand focused on creating highly effective products that work well for women with melanin-rich skin. Bolden is the brainchild and passion. Oh my God, what is going on? Hang on. Starting. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Composed Living with Elsa Albert. I am your host, Elsa. Today, I'm so happy to be chatting with the founders of Bolden, a skincare brand focused on creating highly effective products that work well for women with melanin-rich skin. Bolden is the brainchild and passion of Chinelo and Ndidi, two dynamic co-founders on a mission to help women around the world celebrate their natural beauty. The two originally met as girls at boarding school in Nigeria, but eventually lost touch. Little did they know their paths would cross again in the future, and they'd wind up becoming not only business partners, but also sisters-in-law. At Bolden, they know that self-love is elusive when the beauty standards, rituals, and needs of women of color aren't honored. I'm so excited to learn about their journey to create Bolden and share this story with you. Thank you both so much for being here. I'm so excited to learn more about your individual stories and how you came to found Bolden together. But maybe you could start by introducing yourselves individually, a little bit about your background, and then share the story with us about how you reconnected, and we'll go from there.
Chinelo.
I was going to let you go first.
All right, sure. So I'm Ndidi. I live in Massachusetts. About 40 minutes outside Boston with my husband and two sons. And Chinelo is not just my partner, we're actually married to brothers. So she's my sister-in-law. We have a lot in common. We are both raising two boys, and we attended boarding school together at some point for about a year back in Africa. And then we reconnected in New York, and we were dating brothers at the time, and we went on to marry them. That sounds a little incestuous.
It does not. I think it's so sweet. Were you friends in boarding school? Like you remember each other?
We were friendly. Not as close as we are now. But we also both have MBAs, and our husbands are both doctors, so they have a lot in common, and they're like right next to my husband is her husband's immediate elder brother. So they spend a lot of time together. So we ended up going on vacation together a lot. And on one of those trips, we were out in Key West, Florida, and we were doing our thing, walking around the island. And we stopped by CVS, I think it was CVS, or just a pharmacy, to pick up sunscreen. And none of the options worked well for our skin tones. It just left a white cast.
Yeah.
And it was not wearable. And I think we were just a little surprised. You just assume things are happening, in the marketplace. And we just talked about it and talked about it. We went back and we just pretty much decided to get into this space. We both have MBAs, so we're very business minded, but we are also beauty enthusiasts. I've ever since I was a little girl, watching my mom get makeup made up for the day, to go to work as a banker. I've really been interested in the process of skincare, and so yeah, so it was a great opportunity for us to come together and build this brand that we now love so much. Chinelo, I'll let you take over from here.
All right, thank you for that. So I'm Chinelo, the other half of Bolden. Like Ndidi mentioned, we're friends, but we're also sisters-in-law. So we're kind of stuck with each other for the foreseeable future. We actually do enjoy each other's company, so that really helps. I live in El Paso in the desert. So I surround myself with greenery to trick my mind into forgetting that I'm in the desert. But I have to say it's really pretty. It's very scenic. It's anyone who hasn't been to El Paso, I think it's like a hidden gem. I love living here. Yeah, I have views of the mountain, and the desert vegetation is really beautiful.
Yeah.
I have two sons, and then my husband. So we're a tight-knit community here, and we really enjoy it. We've always been virtual, remote, Ndidi and I, because we've lived in different cities. So even though we started the brand together, we've never actually lived in the same city. So I want to say we were ready for COVID without
Yeah.
knowing. We were already primed. All of our systems and communication was set up. So as bad as COVID was, we were kind of ready for it. So we started this brand because we saw an opportunity in the marketplace. I was working in finance, looking at spreadsheets all day. I used to be a bond analyst for a ratings agency. So analyzing pricing and credit risk, essentially looking at Excel spreadsheets all day. I was really looking for a creative outlet where I could feel like I was making a difference in people's lives every day. So even though I was making a difference, but it wasn't very tangible to me. It was as if I didn't exist, somebody else could easily replace me. So when Ndidi and I were on holiday and we, just really frustrated at the inability to find sunscreen that worked for us. We're spending a lot of time walking the island, and we just realized, we're spending a lot of time in the sun. We probably should use protection. The frustration of purchasing something that didn't work for us, that to me was very telling. And we consume so much beauty, from hair products to skincare to face products. So, we thought, this is obviously a wide space that we could participate in. And we're problem solvers. That's what you get when you have a business degree. We could solve this problem. So timing wise also worked, that we were both looking to make a change. So we just, delved in to see what the cause of the problem was and what solutions we could offer. And the biggest problem, I think, was it was a blind spot for the industry. I don't think there was enough diversity in the production. So if you think of who's making the products, if you don't know that's a problem, you're not going to find a solution. So it was a wake-up call for us to, if the industry doesn't see this as a problem, maybe it's because, they're not aware. So let's be part of the solution. That's really what the motivation has been. So it's really been making products that work for everyone. Like, we found that if we make products that work for people with our skin tone, it tends to work really well for else. So that's been, the big discovery of setting up the brand. And I think one of the most rewarding things we found is when we meet our customers on the road. Oh my God, just the number of hugs. It's like a family reunion. People feel like they know us personally. They're really invested in our journey and the products. It's been the most rewarding endeavor, I have to say.
That's so awesome. I love hearing about how your consumers connect with you and connect with the brand. I think for Composed Living, I mean, that's every moment that I have that I'm like, what am I doing? Running a small business is a nightmare. Then you talk to someone who is so grateful for what you do, and it's such a nice reminder that that's why we start our own businesses, you know?
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
that's
not
why
because
we
it's
do it.
easier. It's not because you're going to make more money. It's, you know, those are not usually the driving
Satisfaction.
factors, but building that community is so special. That's awesome. So was sunscreen where you start, was that your first product, or is that sort of just what created the whole idea?
No, we actually we started out with a line of shea oils. So think shea butter, but without the wax. So
Mm-hmm.
just pure oils. It was low hanging fruit for us in the sense that a lot of people love shea butter, but they don't like the smell. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
has that nutty
Very
smell that
nutty.
not
Mm-hmm.
everyone, yeah. And but they want the benefits. So it was something that we were able to do, and we actually source from Burkina Faso, West Africa. So it was important for us that we support, you know, the work of the local women's cooperatives. So yeah, so we started with that, and then about two years later, we launched our face line, and
I was
that's when
gonna
we launched
say,
our
the
sunscreen.
other thing is sunscreen takes a lot of time because
To develop.
it's an FDA regulated product.
Yeah.
It takes time, and you have to validate and make sure that the claims that you make on the packaging actually delivers. So you'd have to, first of all, formulate, then do a validation test to make sure that, you know, it says that you're
Mm-hmm.
actually hitting the SPF specification number on the packaging, and then you have to do a compatibility test. So it's one of the longer products in terms of production cycle to make. So in the meantime, while we were developing that, it made sense to launch with the shea oils.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can only imagine. I guess that's one thing I'm very thankful for. There's no like FDA requirements with home organization. It's so nice. I feel like there's enough limitations in the world. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have the brain space or any experience in like formulating products and testing and research and development. And so that's incredible that you both took on this wild endeavor.
That's actually
Um,
the part of the work that we love, you know.
really?
Yes.
Yes, like when we get a product, we have testers that test the product, and when we get it to the point where everyone is like, "Oh my God, this is fantastic," you know, we love it, and we also have definitely loved it before we got to that point. And it's just you just go from an idea to like a physical product that you can hold in your hands.
Very
It's
cool.
really, and just the process that, you know, everyone's work, you know, just to get it to that point, it's really, it's very gratifying. So yeah.
I bet. So now you have your face care line, you have the shea oil.
Yes, we have face care, shea oil. We also, yeah, we started with delving into eye care. So
Yeah.
we're about to launch our eye cream soon.
Nice.
Is that a sneak peek?
Like,
Yeah,
don't
we're
look
so
at the
excited.
packaging.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were celebrating how cute the packaging was.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
It really is exciting, like from an idea to, you know, when you get a rendering, to sourcing components, to filling and actually having a product that you can use. It's really, really rewarding. It's almost like you made something out of thin air.
You did. That's exactly what you did. You took an idea and you turned it into
Right?
a beautiful eye cream. I mean, I just think that's so cool. It's very creative, and there's not many people who have this skill set where they can come up with an idea that solves a problem and then actually take all of the steps to bring that into life. My mom, for example, has always been so frustrated because she has these wild ideas for like really cool products that don't exist,
Mhm.
but she has no follow through. Like that's not her strength. Then she gets frustrated when she sees like 5 years later or 10 years later that the product
It,
is on the market and she's like, that
Yes.
was my idea.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, but you
Yeah.
can't like it's not enough to have the idea. You then have to either partner with people or do the rest of the million steps that it takes to bring that thing into life. And so I'm so impressed at both of you, and neither of you coming from a beauty background. So I imagine the
yes.
education that you undertook to be able to do these things and fine tune them to where you're happy with the results is really extraordinary.
I have to say that in high school, my favorite subject, and maybe still to today, is chemistry. So I feel very comfortable around, looking at formulations. Okay, that's the ingredient that's doing the heavy lifting. So in as much as we're not trained chemists or formulators, but just being comfortable around, the chemical names and okay, why does this do this? Or, emulsions or how you mix oils and water, to become stable. That's helpful. Um, because that world, the world of chemistry and formulation. And I think because a lot of the names of the ingredients, they use the inky names, so sort of like the official names, it could be scary.
Yeah.
So, and that makes the industry prone to a lot of trends and misinformation. There's always like a, big bad wolf that we're avoiding. Not to say that there aren't ingredients that are harmful, but I want to say to a great extent, the cosmetics that we use are, pretty safe in the country. But I have a theory, and that's a conversation for another day around fear mongering in the sector. But I
Well,
just want
I
people
mean,
to.
yeah, I know. So chemistry is not my strong suit.
Me too.
I wanted to go to law school, and no surprise, like English and reading and logic, all of these classes were my strong suits. And chemistry is the only class I got a C in.
I did not like chemistry too, so I
But I wasn't
lean
a
heavily
serious
on
person in
Chinelo
high
for that.
school. I was very different. I did not care.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure if I did it again now, I would be focused, but definitely not my strength, although I find it wildly fascinating.
it is.
Uh, I love beauty products. I was always the kid, I grew up at least in the generation that did not have the internet. And so you had these 3-month long summer vacations where all you could do was read like 17 magazine.
Oh, those
That's
And
magazines.
us too.
yeah. I mean, and then it's like you only are getting one magazine a month. So you're like reading
Mhm.
it and rereading it and then
Cover
doing
to
like
cover.
every homemade skincare or hair care formulation that they put in there. I was like, I will
Yeah.
put cold cream on my face and I will, mash an avocado with some lemon juice and then bake outside in the sun. Like just
Yeah.
so fun. But I've always loved skincare. I love playing with makeup. Uh, it's funny. I think now out of laziness, I've stopped doing a full face of makeup because I don't want to wash it off again at the end of the day. Truly the only reason I don't do it. I get very excited when we're like going out for a night and then I'm like, yes, eyeshadow, lip liner.
Yeah.
But even still, like I feel like I have, so because of my passion, I try to keep up on trends and new companies coming out and who's doing things that are sustainable with, great plant-based materials or in their packaging or the whole process. And then I read the backs of the bottles and I'm like, that doesn't sound healthy and organic. This sounds like toxic chemicals. But the front is saying it's all natural. I'm like, but these are
Yeah.
words I've never heard of. It sounds like a chemistry lab experiment.
Yeah,
So,
even like the, chemical name for vitamin C,
yeah.
Tetra. Like
Why
it's
can't you just say vitamin C?
yeah. We've actually done a blog post about that, just not to be so scared of the chemical names or the just reading the list and you're like, what?
Yeah,
This doesn't sound so good. But some of it is really great for you ingredients to just have
there
terrible
needs,
chemical names. Yeah.
there needs to be like a marketing person to rebrand all of these ingredient names.
I think some brands have started doing that. So if there's like a very familiar name, they would put it and then maybe put the chemical name in
Yeah.
brackets. So, when you see ascorbic acid is pretty standard. That's vitamin C. But there are different types of vitamin C because vitamin C is notoriously unstable. So there's so many things you can do to vitamin C to make it more stable. You can encapsulate it. And when you do that, it takes on a different name. So it could be, um, uh, I think the one we have is tetrahexadecyl ascorbate, which is a very stable form of vitamin C. But if you're just looking out for vitamin C or maybe ascorbic acid, then you're like, what is this?
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
that's what
so
I mean. If I'm reading the
Butter.
back of a package and I see vitamin C, I'm like, oh, it's healthy for my skin. But if I see blah
Yeah,
bitty blah blah
hexa.
with all these like hyphens and a lot of like X's and Y's and Z's in the
Yeah.
spelling,
Yeah.
then I'm like, that can't possibly be good for my face.
Even shea butter has a very strange, butyrospirmin pachy, something like that.
yes,
Like
that's the official name.
yeah.
Yeah, I do
But
appreciate
they
I
have to. I
appreciate
think
good branding.
we have to standardize it so you know exactly what molecules you're
Yeah,
using. So, yeah.
I
Elsa,
But
guess
I
I was
think
that
gonna
makes
say
sense.
you have great skin. So I can
Me?
see.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe just the camera is doing me some favors. I'm very obsessed with sunscreen. I have been my whole life. So I think
Great.
that plays a big
yeah,
part of it. And I'm also terrified of doing anything permanent to my face. So
yes.
my whole routine is just sunscreen followed by moisturizer.
And
Mhm.
you're doing more than enough. So I think sunscreen has to be the corner of every routine. And I think that was part of the frustration for us. So I want to say that, as Black women, that's not a big message we hear. We
Yeah.
feel like we have melanin, so it protects us, but it doesn't actually do enough. So we end up not using sunscreen until much later than we need to. And we could definitely benefit, from the anti-aging benefits of sunscreen to protecting the skin. So yes, melanin gives you a little protection, but not nearly enough as people assume.
Yeah.
So that's part of part of the big work that we do is educating our community on the importance of wearing sunscreen because we
Love
don't
that.
hear it nearly enough.
I mean, I think everyone, regardless of the tone of your skin, like if you can prevent against skin cancer, I don't know why you wouldn't.
Right.
But I get like my mom never believed in sunscreen. She still does not because she's Middle Eastern and she just thought, well, I get very dark in the summer. So obviously, because I'm not burning, then there's no risk.
Damage, yeah.
And I'm so glad that just like as a part of my nature, I am a big believer in advocating for your own health and well-being. And so I was like, that's fine. Even as like a kid, I was like, cool, you don't have to wear sunscreen, but I definitely am.
Yeah,
And same, I mean, like I very rarely burn, but also like the other half of my family is Danish and English, and they're like
Mhm.
super white, and
Yeah.
they've all had malignant forms of skin cancer
Mhm.
removed. And I was like, I don't want to be that one. And then the vanity side of it is like, I don't want premature wrinkles and age spots and sunspots and all this. And you don't
exactly.
know
Part
that like
is
it's not going to show up on your face the day that you get burned. It's like
no.
20 years
It's
later.
waiting for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so you think, oh, it's fine. I'm going to wear sunscreen when I'm 50, but too late, friend. Like, you're going to have freckles and things coming up from when you were burned as a teenager.
Yeah.
exactly. And
So
I
it's
think
not even
that's
burning.
one of the difficulties with the messaging. Just because it's not instant, it would be much easier to sell lipstick or foundation where you put it on and you can see, voila, it's like magic.
Yeah.
Changes. I am selling you this, that trust me, wear this, yourself in 10 years will thank me. Like,
Yeah. We're like,
you know,
don't
so-
care. My face is
Yeah.
so hot right now. I'm fine.
yeah.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad that you're doing the education. I hope that people are listening and paying attention and actually putting something, even if you just hit the vanity points, just do your face, your, neck and chest
That's what's
area,
it.
tops of your
Yeah.
hands when you're driving.
Exactly.
counts.
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
one I always forget to reapply. So now I keep like a little, I love mineral sunscreen, but I don't understand what skin tone that's made for. Like nobody is
Yeah.
actually that shade of white. It's white. It's like a piece of paper,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
whitest thing
It's
you could
really,
think.
it's really because of the elements you're using. You're using titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. Titanium is even worse.
Yeah.
It's like very reflective and very white. Zinc oxide, we're actually working on a mineral sunscreen, and that's taking us, I want
A
to
long
say,
time.
a long time. We
For a
might
long
be
time.
on sample number what now? The 6?
Yeah, double
Yeah,
digits. Yeah,
yeah.
just because we're just trying to, make sure it's wearable. Because the
Yeah.
sunscreen you'll wear is the one that is wearable, So
100%.
So that's we're gonna get it. We'll
Yeah,
figure
I
it
had to test. So my younger two stepsons, they are extremely pale, like, red hair, lots of freckles. They do not ever turn color. They go from white-ish to red
Right.
and then back to their original skin tone.
There's no in between.
And so, I mean, they will put on sunscreen because they know now they've learned the hard way that they'll burn if they don't, and they'll never get out of that. This is their life for the rest of their lives. They have to wear sunscreen every day. I want them to be wearing mineral sunscreen, but try convincing a teenager that they need to slather this on their face and then it looks ridiculous. It's like stuck in your eyebrow hairs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not a good look. So we've gone through probably 50 different companies. One, they also only love a spray. And I can't even imagine the complexities of getting, because the mineral sunscreen is so thick. Like, how do you get that to spray out nicely? And
Yes.
then once you do, is it actually going to blend into your skin and not leave that residue? And it's like, good luck.
Yes. I want to, a lot of people are like, do I use mineral? Do I use chemical? And all of the dermatologists we've spoken to really is the advice is use the one that you can commit to using religiously and consistently, because the benefit of the daily use outweighs, whatever
Anything.
incremental. Like, because if you don't enjoy wearing it, it's going to be a chore, and we just know how hard it is to commit. But if you enjoy wearing it, I would not leave the house without wearing sunscreen because I enjoy the process. It's super moisturizing. It just makes me look better. So it's an easy call for me. And that's really what our goal was. Like day one, we realized the sunscreen people will wear religiously is the one that's as easy as their favorite moisturizer. And that's really what we did.
I love that.
Yeah, we're trying to add options, obviously, to meet all the segments of the market. But we want to do it right. And we want it to work for our customers. But we're almost there.
I can't wait to see what you come up with, what the final product is. I will test it because I will test every sunscreen that is on the market.
Right.
So finding the one that the kids will be like, yeah, this is cool. I'll put this in my backpack.
But teenage boys.
Well, and they're outside
skincare.
all the time. Our middle one, he's on the football team, and so they're practicing outside after school all summer long. And granted, like they have helmets and stuff on, but really it's instilling in them the lifelong habit that like you wake up, you brush your teeth, you put sunscreen on.
Exactly.
And it's just something you do all the time. Like even here, I have to remind them, they just went snowboarding a couple weekends ago. And it's like, we don't have to put on sunscreen because it's, cold and snowy outside. I'm like, you have to put on extra sunscreen now.
It's reflecting.
Obviously, this is something we talk about in my household a lot.
I love that. I love that.
But even there, I feel like now they've heard me say it enough times, the same thing. Like, I don't care if you use a mineral-based one. I don't care if you use the spray-on one with all the chemicals. Do whatever you're actually going to put on, but also understand like how each one of them breaks down differently and how each one of them, like what length of time do you need to wait until you're
For you,
reapplying again.
yeah.
To reapply.
So I
Yeah.
feel like now they know. I'm like, if you put on the gross goopy one, you're not going to have to reapply as often. And if you put on the spray one, carry that baby with you because
Yeah.
respraying every hour on the hour.
For
Long
the
as you do.
convenience. Yeah.
So fun. What has been your biggest challenge in getting Bolden off the ground?
Hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna say the sunscreen. Because when we were formulating, so we had formulated this really beautiful product and we had tested it and it worked. And we had I think someone had done an interview and we had talked about it. And it started going viral.
Oh yes, I remember. It was actually going to be featured in Oprah magazine in an
Yes,
article.
it was gonna
In an article in Oprah magazine about the benefits of wearing sunscreen for Black people, and then I think
validation came. And
yeah,
it wasn't 30. It was like, what was
it
it?
was less. It was like I don't know
20,
something. It was just
25.
not.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
we've been saying SPF 30. Like we have to hit 30. So we had to make the difficult decision to reformulate. So we had all of this publicity and no product.
Yeah.
And we had to tell people sign up on our website and we'll email you when it becomes available. Oh my God, it was a nightmare. I'm like, are we going to survive this? But I am so happy that we did the right thing. Because I think the biggest thing for our brand is just earning the trust of our customers, and we put that ahead of everything else. So we made the difficult call, didn't launch the year. We ended up launching the next year. By that time, the excitement had waned a little bit, but it was very important for us that we launched with the right product and that it was actually providing the protection that we said.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big lesson. Now we don't even remember it, but I remember how traumatized we were. Like we were on HuffPo, Oprah magazine, and no product.
That is a bummer. But hopefully it built some brand awareness and
It
that's
did.
also such a good lesson for all entrepreneurs listening. I'm sure at some point you have gone through or you will go through what feels like the most painful, insurmountable challenge.
Oh,
And
yes.
eventually there will come a time when you barely remember how horrible.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that's good.
Yeah.
I can't, at the beginning of every new year, I kind of look back over my journals from previous years and just see like what goals I was setting for myself and what I was struggling with during those times. And so that's still very front of mind for me with us only being in February. And, it's hard. It's hard to be an entrepreneur. We talked a little bit about how difficult it is to be a small business owner, especially in California right now. Before we started recording. And it can feel very overwhelming. Like I know this past 6 months for me has felt very overwhelming. I have a terrible habit of taking on more than a human being can reasonably accomplish, always at the same time. And then once I meet those goals, it feels like now I need to do even more because I've proven that I can. And it's exhausting. I exhaust myself mentally and physically. And I don't love that. It's something that I want to change very much about myself and something that I'm super conscious of and working on fixing or changing, not fixing. But looking back at like what the goals I had set for myself before, it was like get 1,000 Instagram followers. And I was like, if I had 1,000 Instagram followers now, I'd be like, what happened? What's wrong? Or, like I want to book two
Yeah.
clients every week. And it's just like that excitement. And like that felt so insurmountable to me at the time. And now I'm like, I want to book 20 clients in a week. And I want to do.
Yes.
I guess all of that to say, just everybody listening, give yourself a little bit of grace.
Yes.
We are
Yes.
making progress and we don't need to do as much as maybe we feel like we should.
That is true. And Chinelo and I we're actually the same age. Talking about similarities. So we are both at that middle age where we're raising kids. So you have to be present, right? You have to make time for them, which is one thing that we like about what we do now. Just it offers a lot more flexibility. But then it's really challenging because you're juggling, running a business. Like it's become quite, big,
Yeah.
bigger than where we started, right? And then also being present for your family, being present as a wife, being present for your extended family, and especially with parents that are aging.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're just being pulled, from all angles, and you just have to remember to take a deep breath and learn to prioritize daily tasks. If I can not think about 6 months from now,
Yeah.
it actually works for me. And and just doing your best. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be perfect. We've learned to go along with things that are not necessarily perfect, but it's ready to go, and then we can perfect it as we go along.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of lessons. Being an entrepreneur is not easy.
I
Nobody
think
tells.
it is the wildest form of therapy, honestly. It's like it brings to light every single insecurity, every strength, every weakness. You have your best days where you're just really crushing it. You have your worst moments where you're like snapping at people. Like, I hear the tone of my voice sometimes and I'm like, take it down a notch. Everybody is doing their best,
Right.
Yeah. And
Just
I
this
think
week,
what
like I
helps.
texted my office manager, Maggie, who I adore. I mean, I'm so thankful for everybody who works with Composed Living. They're the sweetest human beings. And also very fortunate that many of them have been with us now for like 3 years and longer.
Wonderful. Mm.
And I texted her and I was like, I would need to cancel our team meeting today because I'm in such a bad mood. And this is not the energy that I want to bring to this conversation. So let's do it another day. Like, that's it. That's all I can offer you.
Yeah.
So I think we get the benefit of being there's two of us. So
Yes.
I can't think of a time when we're both in a rotten mood. So usually Ndidi can tell when I'm off, or I try to, cover for like, oh, she's, it's one of those days. But having a partner who you can rely on to step up when you're not 100% has been such a blessing.
I don't think I could have done it without Chinelo. I'm just being honest. I might not have been able to. So it's good to have. She's a sounding board, and then you start to even just confide about life. You spend so much time together, so many hours in a day. So she pretty much knows everything that's happening in my life.
Yeah, and vice versa.
We get to gossip about the family every now and then. So
Yeah, I think you're saying
I
the
love
quiet
that.
part out loud. Like that's the secret part.
that's okay. I'm sure they know. Let me stop.
But even back to why it's so important to start. I remember like even on my Instagram handle, it says, just start where you are. The start is so important. I think a lot of people just overanalyze. You have analysis paralysis. Like, don't let the perfect be the enemy of progress. And we sort of live that because, oh, like we need to change this. Like, just put it out in the world and see how it's received. You always have the opportunity to do better.
Yeah.
So as long as you're comfortable that, this is the idea that I'm putting forth, don't wait for when it's perfect. Because I want to say it's never going to be perfect. And you wake up 3 years later and you haven't done anything, just been doing analysis of this marketplace. Meanwhile, the trend that you were trying to get on has come and gone. So it's so important to start, and you learn so much from doing. So, don't overanalyze. If there's an idea that you have that you think might be something, put feelers out, start doing something. I'm not saying quit what you're doing and, go on 100%, but there are ways to smartly and strategically see if there's something there. But it's so important to start. I think the start if there's one advice I'll give, it's just start.
And the world is actually more receptive than you would think. I remember when
More
we first
forgiving, right?
yeah, when we first started, we were so, like concerned. We're so small. Like what filler is gonna want to, make a product for us? But
For us,
we just met someone that was like, hey, I like your story. I like your brand. Let's do it.
and we had
So,
the best filler, actually.
oh yes. So yeah, you just have to try. More people that are out there wanting to help than you would think. So yeah.
That's very true. I think I've definitely noticed that in building this business. And it almost seems like you don't even know who it is that you need to come help you. They just sort of appear once you start doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I did something very similar. I was still working as a VP of customer experience for a startup here in Los Angeles for the first 2 years that I was running Compose Living.
Mm.
And so I would just go home and be like, how do you build a website? And I was like, let's Google it. Okay, here's a company. It looks like it's pretty easy. And then it was like, I didn't do it all in one day. It was like on day one, I figured out like how wide I want the margins to be on the page, And
And the
like,
buffer.
I don't know. Is there a science to this? Probably. Do I care enough to like research it? No, I'm just gonna be like, oh, looks good. Everything looks straight. Now
Good
let's pick a
enough.
brand color. This one's
Yeah,
pretty.
it's good enough for
Yeah.
now.
And then
Yeah,
before you know it, you have a website and a business and a name and all of these things. And then people show up to, help or be clients or support you or spread the word or whatever. Remember the very first
exactly.
celebrity Instagram follower I got? I was like dancing in the house, showing everyone. And my husband's like, I don't know who that is. I was like, how dare you? It's my only celebrity follower. You have to know who they are.
I know. Yeah, I remember telling Ndidi that I was now best friends with Randy Zuckerberg because we follow each other on Instagram. Like I DM her and she responds like she's literally my best friend.
Yep.
So
So
I'm like
close.
one person away from Mark. So what we're family, we're friends.
Love that. Oh man. It's so much fun chatting with both of you. I love your energy. I love your passion for what you're doing. Your whole story is so sweet. I love, the serendipity of knowing each other in childhood and then meeting again as adults and all of it. And now your family. It's really a cool story.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a very rewarding journey. Ndidi is such a thoughtful, caring person. I'm sure that's what all of her friends say. But yeah, like if all you have to do is mention anything you're struggling with, and she's already thinking of solutions. I'm like, wow, you're a great friend.
That makes a great friend and a great business partner.
Yes, yes.
Chinelo is she's excellent with numbers. She knows how to just like take away all the noise and just no, this opportunity it's not worth it. Like I'm like, are you sure? Like, she's like, no, this, that. So she's excellent with numbers. So I depend on her for that. And she's like one of my best friends now. It's just how life happens. You never know who becomes so important to you later on in life, and I'm always curious, like, will I still know this person 30 years from now? Because there's some people that I barely maybe paid attention to 25 years ago that are like so significant in my daily life now. It's so amazing how that happens. That's the
I
beauty of
was telling, I often tell my husband that we need to have a wedding like every 5 or 10 years. And that's really the fastest way to see like which friendships
Ooh,
are standing the test of
right?
time. Like who was at our wedding? Who do we still
Oh,
talk to?
Still talk
And
to.
who was not there
Mhm.
because we didn't know them yet, you know? So it
Mhm.
was like, it's not
Exactly.
fair that now like one of my closest friends wasn't at our wedding. Like we need to do it again so that they can be there and be a part of it.
That's cute. That's really cute.
I mean, like now I have a new brother-in-law and a new sister-in-law. Neither of them were at my wedding, you know,
Right.
that's not right. My nephew wasn't there. We gotta re-up it every couple of years.
Yeah. So, but I have a theory about wedding renewals. I don't know, it's all anecdotal, but when you renew your vows, it's almost like the beginning of the end.
Interesting.
Yes, because I
It's like a
think,
last-ditch effort to try and
yes,
keep the marriage going.
that's what it is. So it's all like, oh, why don't we do this whole ceremonial thing? But I think it doesn't solve whatever the underlying problem was.
Well, I
And
just want to
obviously,
party.
uh,
I
Or we
don't need
could
to do
travel.
anything with vows. I just want to throw a huge party and wear a pretty
okay,
dress.
yes, that. But for it to be around, oh, we want to, recommit. It's not recommit. There was a problem
Yeah.
requiring the recommitment.
Hmm. You know what?
It's
I
not
agree with you. And
the
honestly,
work.
it makes like if someone invited me to a vow renewal, I would feel a little bit awkward. I'd be like, oh, I'd like if it was your wedding, cool. Vow renewal feels a little bit like, you're very into yourself. No offense to anyone who has done a vow renewal.
I was gonna say, how many enemies am I making?
No, but I mean, it does kind of, and I don't have any evidence to back this
Yeah.
up, but it kind of feels like you see them like posted on social media, whatever, and then very shortly after you hear that the couple is
Afterwards.
separating. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather you did the work because marriage is hard. But successful marriages take work. So if you're not doing the work but you're doing the show,
Yeah.
no, just a matter of time.
Yeah. Very true. They are work. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's wonderful work that's easy to do. Sometimes it's a little more complicated.
Yeah.
But hopefully always worthwhile if you go through it. Human beings are just difficult creatures.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
very complicated, so many ideas and desires and things we don't even understand about ourselves. It's a wild ride. It always blows my mind to hear people who've been together for like 50 years, 60 years, and you're like, oh, the stories you must have.
I know. My brother says that somebody must be giving more than the other, that it's so hard to find a marriage that's 50-50.
All
So
the time.
there's somebody, yeah. And it could change maybe, earlier
like a
on, it
cycle.
could be exactly. But somebody must be willing to put in a little more than the other. And hopefully doesn't stay that way
Yeah.
forever, because that's how you get dissatisfied. But if you're, there to balance it out, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's him, or your other partner. It seems more fair that way.
Yeah. I think
Over
that's
time.
that really resonates with, in my own marriage. There's definitely times where I feel like I'm doing not I don't whatever the right phrasing
Yeah.
is here. Like
Most.
More.
in regards to running a household, right? There's definitely times where I do more. I get, I buy the groceries, I do meal planning, I do cooking, laundry, tidy up the house, all those things. But in large part, it's because I don't mind doing it when I have the time, and I work from home most of the time. And,
Yes.
so there's a lot of times where that doesn't feel like a burden to me and I actually enjoy it. And then there are times, Chad and I sat at dinner last night and I said, I need you to do everything for the household for the next 2 weeks. I have no capacity left. So, and he's, he looked at me, he's like, fine, but then you have to let me do it.
Exactly.
So true.
And I was like,
That
I
is-
will, just
yeah.
watch me. I was like, as long as every meal has a vegetable, fine.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It's
I
so
think
true.
that's critical. Like you have to let him do it, right?
Yeah.
Because he might not do it the way you would do it, but you have to let him do it.
Yeah.
That's what
He
hopefully
definitely
that's what
won't do
it
it the
is.
way I would do it, and that's totally fine. I mean, our laundry basket is still sitting downstairs. It's been there for 4 days. So now we just have to throw our laundry on the floor upstairs, and I'm just like
You
waiting it
take the
out.
help, take
I'm
it
like,
however
who's
you
gonna
get
cave
it.
first? Who's gonna bring this thing back upstairs? Now I'm just gonna do it because I said it. It'd be really petty to leave it after confessing that I've been staring at it for days.
Watching it, right? Yeah.
But I like that we have that openness in our relationship where it can go back and forth. Like right now, he has at least more emotional capacity to handle running our household. And he's willing to step in and do that. And I need to shift focus and get some very large projects off of my plate so that I can feel the levels of stress and time and all of those things come back down to a healthy level.
Yeah. I
So
have
it's nice to have that
I
support.
I have a love-hate relationship with emotional labor. So I grew up in a big household. I have 5 other siblings. So there was 3 girls and 3 boys. My dad was pretty traditional. Um, so the girls in his mind did the work in the house and the boys did the work outside of the house. But it occurred to me very early that the work in the house was very frequent and very repetitive. So
Mhm.
there's 3 meals a day, there's dishes, there's bathroom to clean, there's dusting, there's sweeping. And then the work outside, wash the
What is
car.
that?
You don't do that
Love the
every
lawn.
day.
Yeah.
You mow the lawn. You don't do that every day. Like that doesn't seem fair because it felt like I was constantly having a chore to do, and my siblings who are male were like, "Oh yeah, I'll get to my work on Saturday." Like, huh?
Yeah.
So,
You're like,
so
but I
that's
also still have to cook on Saturday.
there's just too many meals, and just as you're getting done with one and putting away the dishes, it's time for the next one. And that's why I don't do holidays at home anymore.
Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah, because I was creating all the magic, and then I ended up being exhausted. So for a couple of years, it was fun, but it then became really, I was getting anxious around all the meal prep, making sure everyone's situated, that I wasn't really looking forward to the holidays. And that's sad
Yeah.
that I wouldn't look forward to maybe Christmas or even Thanksgiving because I'm thinking of the work involved with having that. So we just decided, you know what, we're just gonna go away and we all show up and I get to enjoy the holiday again. So that's my little thing. So I think the last 3 years, we haven't spent Christmas at home. I miss it now.
Yeah.
I will have a Christmas tree, but I don't miss the labor of making that Christmas magic.
I wonder if I should try that. I end every holiday season with like, I don't feel like I got to enjoy the holidays at all. And I'm just so tired of saying that every year. And it's my favorite time of year, but I feel like I'm just always waiting for that magic to be there. And it doesn't come. Like this year, we had 22 people in our house. Our dishwasher broke 2 days before they got here. We're cooking, and they're staying overnight, some of them for many nights. So it's not just one big meal you're cooking, it's like
Right.
14 meals
Several.
for 20 people. And as much
Yeah,
as other people try to help out, it's like it
it's still
doesn't
primarily
eliminate
you.
that burden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
And then
you're the
going back
host.
to, I mean, Chad would do anything around the house that I asked him to do. That's never the problem. It's for me, like the emotional chore list, like
The
that
the
never
the
goes away. The
thinking.
mental load, that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
what.
the mental load. Yeah.
And that's probably the thing that we bicker about more commonly than anything else is he's like, of course I can get groceries. Like, I'm a capable human being. I'm like, yeah, but the
just
thing
totally.
is, like, I think about getting groceries every day. Like every meal, I am worried about feeding our family. I'm worried about their nutrition. Like I'm worried about all these
Yeah,
things. So at
yeah.
that point, it's like, I don't even really care if you go get the groceries because I've spent so much
Much
time
time.
thinking
Thinking.
about doing it. And
It's
I
that
don't know how to
mental
fix
load.
that.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
I think
Yes.
for me, the only thing about Christmas traveling is I don't like to travel during Christmas because the
It's so
airports are
busy.
just, it's such a
It's
mess and
crazy.
you end up getting sick. Just
I did.
Just seems to be like a lot of germs and everyone is sick. When you come back like with something. Chinelo, I think you came back with something, right?
I did. Not only that, it took how many days to come back? So we had just gone to Cancun. We went to Isla Mujeres. It's like an island right off of. So coming back, we got on the flight and there was so much traffic. First of all, the airport was crowded, so much so that the Wi-Fi was jammed. So you didn't have any service. You couldn't do anything on your phone. So we got on, and then it was just so many people. I've never seen so many people in that airport. Then we got in the plane. Because there were so many flights, it took so long for us to take off that the pilots timed out. I didn't even know that was a thing.
It is a thing.
Yeah.
So we had been sitting, waiting to take off, and we had to go back. So there I was trying to get on another flight. I had booked us on another flight. But the process of getting back, you have to go through customs again. We wouldn't have made it. So we had to spend an extra night. So we took off the next day, flew to Phoenix. Then our connection flight got canceled again. So I spent one extra night. I spent an extra night in Cancun. And then I spent an extra night in Phoenix. And I think I was just so grateful that it was around the holidays and we had baked in a few extra days to just get ready for the year. But yeah, 2 extra nights just getting home. So holiday travel.
Yeah.
It's not the best.
Not for the faint-hearted. And even though like that sounds like on the surface, like, oh, great, you had to spend an extra night in Mexico and then you had a night, but like that's also expensive. And when you're traveling with your family, like, not anticipating extra costs and extra flights and extra hotel rooms and all the meals.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I just don't know what I'm supposed to do with the holidays. I can't travel. I can't stay home.
Drive somewhere.
Yeah, maybe that.
If you can avoid. So we also we don't always fly. Like sometimes we go to like San Diego and Encinitas, where we could do that because then you're in control of the trip when you leave, when you get back.
I also love train travel. And from here, Los Angeles, you can take the train up to Santa Barbara. You can go up to like really up the whole Pacific coast. You can.
Yeah.
That could be fun too. Maybe go find somewhere that has some snow.
I wish our trains could be as elevated as the European trains
or the Japanese ones.
It's such a like romantic way to travel, you see like the old movies and these beautiful sleeper cars and it's so civilized and you just picture everyone all like fancy on a train car drinking champagne.
Yes.
And then you go and you're like, it's basically a bus on not fancy at all.
You know what I'm looking forward to this spring break is taking the bullet train and in Tokyo.
Oh, cool.
That would be my first time. So
I've never been to Tokyo.
If it's as fast as they say, or if it feels
15 minutes from that's what I hear. Yeah.
15 minutes to go from where to where?
From Tokyo to Osaka, I think. Yeah, from Tokyo. That's 15 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. And I hear that it's so punctual.
Yeah.
So it's not like the New York subway. I used to live in New York.
Never heard anyone say anything bad about visiting Japan. Everybody who goes loves it.
Yeah, it's super clean. I've transited through. So this would be my first time actually going in. I've transited through, and even the airport, like the food in the airport was so good. The bathrooms were sparkling. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it.
They don't have as many people as America. It's like how many times the population. Yeah.
We've actually gotten to travel quite a bit for Bolden. I know we went to Seoul. Seoul was very good. And when we went to Hong Kong, the trains in Hong Kong are so packed. Remember when we were trying, it was like a trade show we went to.
Oh, it's going to be worse in Japan. So be ready for that. If you take the local subway, like I've seen videos where you get pushed in and get pushed in and get
Nobody's
pushed in.
touching me.
You have to.
Well,
Bear
it's
with it.
vacation, so we'll avoid rush hour. We won't
Okay.
when people are coming from work. I'm not getting into one of those. It's not that serious.
I can't wait to hear about it. We're thinking about taking our younger two to Japan over the Thanksgiving school break. None of
Ooh,
us have been. My brother just came back. He loved it.
Loved it, yeah.
Gave us so many
exactly.
fun recommendations for teenagers and things that they would love. So we'll see. I'm like watching the flights. It's just the biggest price swing I've ever seen on flights, where one day they're like $3,000 for everyone, and then the next
Mhm.
day it's like $10,000. I'm like, what's
Do you
going
do
on?
the Google flight tracking?
Yeah. So
Oh, you
every
do.
day I'm getting an alert, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna wait for it to go back down. Then we're booking right now. No questions.
Yeah, I think that's how we did it too.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, there's an airline. Did you tell? There's an airline that leaves from LA. It's a new it goes
Zip
straight
Air.
to Japan. Zip line.
Yeah.
Oh,
Zip
I don't know it.
really good.
Zip Air is Zip
Zip
Air.
Air, sorry, Zip Air.
Zip
It's
Air.
a subsidiary. It's a subsidiary of Japan Airlines.
Yeah.
Okay.
It only goes to like 5 destinations or so in the world. So
Great.
it has really like good tickets.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out today. Add another
Yeah.
flight tracker.
I don't know if it's on Flight Tracker. How did we get it? Because I was tracking it for a while.
Yeah, it may not be. You may have to just check out their site.
Yeah.
Zip Air. Yeah, Zip
All right.
Air.
I'm on
Yeah.
it. Thanks for the tip. You at Bolden have a great promo happening for the month of February, Black History Month.
Yes.
How
Yes,
can
we're
people, well, first of all,
celebrating.
what is it? And how can people find you?
Oh, so we're celebrating all things Black beauty, Black futures, Black culture this month. And we're offering 20% off all site-wide. So check us out. We're also
BoldenUSA.com.
Yeah.
Amazing.
that part, boldenusa.com. And we're also available in 1,500 Walmart stores. We have our best-selling items, sunscreen, cleanser, toner, and dark spot fix for hyperpigmentation.
Cool. That's awesome. So pop in if there's a Walmart around you and that's where you normally shop. You can see Bolden in the wild. Or if you're like me and you don't want to leave your house ever, shop from the
Amazon.
comfort of your
Oh
own
yeah, I
home.
forgot. We're also on Amazon. Follow us on Bolden USA on Instagram. We have fun content.
That's so awesome. Thank you both
Thank
for
you so
creating
much.
this company, for the education that you do, for being creative enough to see a gap in the market and then do all the hard work of, doing something to fix that. And I think it's so awesome.
Oh, thanks for such an amazing conversation.
Yeah,
I
I'm
haven't
so
had this.
happy.
I haven't enjoyed myself.
I know.
Wow, just
We could
talking.
go on. I forgot.
But
Thank
that's
you so
great.
much
That's
for
how you
having us.
know. I love what you two are doing. I think you're both so easy to talk to. And I really enjoyed this conversation and meeting you both.
Same here,
Same
Elsa.
here.
Thank you so much.